Hey, so I just wanted to talk about mental health and mental illness and the effects that food has on my brain. Um, I grew up eating the standard American diet, um, lots of sugar, lots of grains, um, lots of gluten, lots of processed foods. Um, you know, pretty much everything you can find in the supermarket in every single aisle. That's what I ate. A lot of soda. Um, and it pretty much jacked up my metabolism for the rest of my life. So when I got to college, I was just binging quite a bit on dining court food and all this stuff. And I really had no focus in life, no motivation. Um, I pretty much had zero vision for whatever I was gonna do with life. Luckily, God sent an angel in the form of my wife into my life, and she said, "Hey, there's so much more for you, and I see so much more." Some reason, God gave her, a vision of my life that I never saw. Um, but she spoke life and truth and kind of a mission purpose into my life, and so through that, I started eating better, being more aware of a diet, more aware of the food that I consume. And so our journey, we started out with a Whole30 and a paleo diet, and really eliminated a lot of the junk that I was consuming, and it really started transforming my mental state, let alone my physical state. And I lost close to 50 pounds and went from 195 down to 145, and and just gained so much mental clarity and focus, um, and um, I just was able to um, really have a mission in my life, and feel like there was something to move towards rather than this kind of life is happening to me. um, my perspective changed to um, I'm I'm the driver of my life, and I can take it wherever I want it to go. And so our diets kind of morphed as we were doing paleo. We still experienced bloating. We were eating lots of vegetables, lots of roasted root vegetables, big salads, all this stuff, and we just gained more and more knowledge about the effects of carbohydrates and just glucose in general, which carbohydrates break down to glucose in your blood, and so we just gained that knowledge, and so we started cutting out different things, and we moved into a ketogenic diet and lifestyle where we were prioritizing high fat, moderate protein, and low carb. So we were at 20 carbs or less, and for Lauren that worked really well. She felt amazing. The bloating went away. My bloating went away, but unfortunately, like, maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but food affects my mental state way more than even just my physical. And so I, even on a ketogenic diet, I was still craving sweets and carbs, and a big thing was like nuts and dairy, and just these things that kind of, you start eating, you can't stop eating them. And so I would I would binge, and then I would try and like be disciplined to not eat anything that I would typically binge on. And so I was like kind of going on this roller coaster of ups and downs and swings, and I was still, even though we were on a ketogenic diet, a lot of times I was falling out of the ketogenic kind of macros, and it was throwing me for swings. And so I learned about the carnivore diet, which is a zero carb diet, originally from Doc Nally and Jimmy Moore. I remember Doc Nally on their podcast, he mentioned that his son was going to try it. And I thought, when I heard that, I was like, that's crazy. Like, how can anybody just do meat? And then I didn't really think much else of it. But then I started hearing more and more about it. Obviously, I heard about Sean Baker doing it. And then I heard of Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson, and how they started doing it, and then learned about Paul Saladino. Who else were big? Yeah, just the fact that like Joe Rogan tried it. It's like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to try this. I think that this will help me. And I just I needed a change. I needed something dramatic. Like, I am an abstainer. Some people are moderators. My wife, she can moderate all day. She can have a little square of chocolate every single day and be perfectly fine. I'm like, give me that whole bar, So I have to abstain. And so the carnivore diet for me, it gave me boundaries that told me that if you're hungry, eat meat and animal fat until satiation, and you're going to be okay. And then it also just took so many things off the table for me to be tempted by. Sweeteners, grains, sugars, most dairies, nuts and seeds. I mean, all these things that I would go to because they just tasted good, and it just bumped my cravings and kept me in a carb craving state. We used to call it the sugar dragon. Just was always hanging out. And carnivore really eliminated that for me, and it gave me such superior mental clarity and focus. And essentially, it is a ketogenic diet because you totally eliminate all the carbohydrates that you eat. And people think, oh, that's crazy. You need carbs for energy. You need glucose. You need sugar in your system to have energy. But that's actually not the case. Your body can live off of fat, the fat stores in your body, the fat that you consume. It's an energy source. It gets converted into ketones, which are a much cleaner burning fuel for your body. And your brain needs it. And so when your brain consumes ketones over glucose, you're firing on all cylinders. I mean, you really feel amazing. My aches and pains started going away. I had a back injury that was just constantly bugging me. All of a sudden it's gone, totally gone. The carnivore diet gives your body a chance to heal because it's not fighting. It's not in a fight or flight mode because of carbohydrates. And most people don't realize this, but carbohydrates put your body in a fight or flight mode. What's happening is insulin's coming to get the blood glucose out of your bloodstream because it's not supposed to be there. So your body's constantly in an inflammation, fight or flight mode, and and so it's like it's constantly repairing. That's why people feel sluggish. That's why people crash. That's why you're constantly craving, and you always need a hit of more sugar. You get an initial sugar hit, and you flare up, and then it just subsides, and you crash. And that's why people need more sugar all the time. That's why athletes are eating goo, because they're riding on carbohydrates and sugar, and then once the carbohydrates and sugar in your bloodstream fall out, you plummet, right? Because your body is so used to burning that fuel that you need something else. For people who are fat fueled, you're not going on these crashes. You're not falling out. You're not bonking. You're able to have sustained energy, and whether that's through the fat that you consume or the fat that's on your body. Anyway, that's my little rant, and my mental clarity has just been improving, and every time I fall off, I eat something I shouldn't. I eat something with sugar in it, even just carbs, just any carbs, vegetable, fruit, like dairy, and even sugar alcohols. Sorry to say, stevia and erythritol and monk fruit, all those sugar alcohols, they affect me just like sugar, and I get into a depressive mental state, and I'm hopeless. I feel helpless. I have no motivation. I feel like everybody's against me. I feel like I can't dig out of a hole, and it takes multiple days to come out of that. And I never really want to accept it, but my wife is the one who's constantly like, hey, something's up with you. What'd you eat? What'd you eat? What'd you consume? Because one of the biggest inputs into any output of our body and our mental state is food. Like, that's the biggest thing that you put into your body. Like, that's the main thing you put in your body. I mean, there's a lot of other things too. Don't get me started on the water that you drink, or that you shower in, or that you brush your teeth with, and then the different chemicals that you have, that you wash your clothes with, or that you have in your house, or that you know, the gum you chew. I mean, all that can swing you, but the biggest thing that is an input in your life is the food that you eat. And even if it's what everybody else is eating, it could be affecting you physically and mentally. So just wanted to throw that out there. I know this is a pretty long rant, but yeah, you know, DM me and put a comment below. I'd love to interact with what you think about food and mental health. And you know, reach out to me on my Instagram at carnivore.casey, and I'd love to help in any way I can. My wife and I are health coaches, and we coach people through a paleo, keto, carnivore sort of lifestyle transition, and we'd love to just help you overcome whatever's going on in your life. So subscribe to the channel. Love you guys.